Yharnam is cursed, and it's been that way for quite some time now. As the old blood seeps through each pore of the city, and men turn into beasts, Yharnam grows dark and citizens huddle in their homes pretending the plague is all but a dream. The lore of Bloodborne is one of ancient beings, ambitious men, and you, a hunter of little renown, with a sick hat. Today, I'm going to try to take this vertical gothic web and condense it down into 5 minutes, so here is the entire lore of Bloodborne in 5 minutes or less.
Deep below the earth lay a series of maze-like tombs known as the Chalice Dungeons. These dungeons lay host to a fallen civilization, one that contained two races of beings, the Pthumerians and the Great Ones.
The Pthumerians were essentially just humans, but with the funny name. The Great Ones, however, were not humans. In fact, they were actually big scary god things.
Ew.
And they were trying to impregnate the Pthumerians.
Ew!
Because they couldn't have their own children, the Great Ones impregnated Pthumerians, and most of the time it didn't work out, but then the times it did work out, it still didn't work out. Eventually, most of the Great Ones ascended to a higher plane of existence as their work on Earth became futile. In the wake of their exit, the Pthumerians would begin to use the blood of these Great Ones for healing, but it would have adverse effects on them, turning them into beasts, and eventually ripping apart their whole society. Now, in steps Willem and Lawrence, two scholars from the School of Bergenworth who discovered the ancient civilization and the healing blood left by the Old Ones. Willem sought to learn from the knowledge of the Old Ones, while Lawrence formed the healing church from the blood they left behind. This healing church would save many and lure in travelers from distant lands who sought to use the blood to heal their diseases. For a time, it worked, and the city of Yharnam was built on the thriving of the old blood and of the church. But Lawrence knew there would always be a catch, and the rampant use of the blood started to turn men into beasts. However, nightly hunts conducted by the church both through Gehrman's workshop and through the church's less discreet hunters would keep this in check, and the arrogance of the Yharnamites would persist. Meanwhile, a madman named Mikolash would form the School of Mensis, and he would also wear a birdcage on his head, which I guess was the fashion back then. Just like Willem and Lawrence before him, Mikolash sought to ascend to greater power, but took far more drastic measures in doing so. As such, Mikolash finds himself as the antagonist of our story, tearing the world asunder in order to become a god. He uses an umbilical cord that he found to alter the world, transporting himself to the Nightmare Realm and finding an infant Great One, Mergo. For much of the game, we hear Mergo's crying. This act also sets loose a myriad of lesser amygdalas, which are the Great Ones seen all around Yharnam when your insight meter is high enough. That's where we come in. Our character enters this world hoping to be healed by the old blood. Quickly, though, we are enlisted into the aid of Gehrman, founder of the Hunters. He presides here in the Hunter's Dream, where he leads us on our journey, guiding us, giving us advice, and pushing us further into the web.
You'll get used to it.
Every time we die, the Hunter's Dream brings us back as we are merely specters in Yharnam. We kill all manner of beasts, from lost souls to great beings. Nothing can stop us on our route of cleansing the world. Gehrman has a secret agenda, though, one given to him by the Great One, the Moon Presence. This agenda is to stop Mikolash's nightmare. We kill Rom, the spider, and open the veil. We kill Mikolash, the leader of the School of Mensis, halting his evil ritual, and eventually we stop the crying of Mergo, the great infant one, in order to set the world right again. This all leads us to a choice. Do we let Gehrman send us on our way? Do we take his role, or do we attempt to ascend? The lore of Bloodborne is a nightmare. One formed on the ambition of men who seek to ascend to godhood but ultimately destroy all of those around them. It's a cautionary tale of the price of power and the ends that some will go to obtain it. Ultimately, the question the game asks us at the end is, would we set the world free, or do we continue this unending nightmare?